In this video, we'll look at some another numeric functions available in MySQL, that is the inverse trigonometric functions. So in inverse trigonometric functions, we have sine inverse, cos inverse, and tan inverse functions. And sine inverse is represented as a sine. Now we know the result of inverse trigonometric functions for sinusoidal function will lie between minus pi by 2 and plus pi by 2. Now here, while giving the value x as the parameter, remember the sine value of any angle lies between minus 1 and plus 1. So when we find the sine inverse, the value of x should be given between minus 1 and plus 1 only. Let's say, for example, if I execute the query, let's select a sine of say 0.5 and we'll display that as a result here. So sine inverse of 0.5 will be displayed here, which is 0.5235 and so on. Remember the value here is the angle in radians. This is the angle in radians. Similarly, we can change the value of angle, change the value inside the bracket, say minus 0.5, we'll get the result in negative value. So if I execute this, you'll see the answer as minus of 0.5235 and so on. Again, the angle is in radians. Now, if I just mention the 0 inside the bracket, you know sine inverse of 0 is 0 only. So if I execute this, you'll see the answer is 0. Right? Now instead of the value between minus 1 and plus 1, if I mention some value which is out of bound, that is out of minus 1 and 1 range, let's say 1.2, then that doesn't exist. Sine inverse of value greater than 1 doesn't exist. So if I execute this query, you'll see null will be given as the output. Right? So this is how we can utilize the sine inverse function a sine to find the inverse of sinusoidal function. In the similar manner, instead of a sine, if I use a cos, you'll get the value of cosine inverse values. So you can simply use a cos instead of a sine. We can replace like here a cos. So if I execute this query, cos inverse of minus 0.5 will be returned as 2.094 radians. Similarly, for positive values, if I execute, you'll see the result as 1.0471. So these are cosine inverse values. So similarly here for 0, if I see the result is 1.57 and so on. Now for cosine also, we know the value is always between minus 1 and plus 1. So for 1.2, it will return the null value like this. Again, we can utilize the similar function for finding the tan inverse. Instead of a cos, I'll write a tan here, and tan inverse of 0.5 will be returned if I execute this query. The value is 0.4636. That is the angle in radians again. So again here, if I see for 0, the tan inverse of 0 is again 0. If I execute, you'll see the answer as 0. If I replace this also with tan, now tan values actually lies between minus infinity and plus infinity. So we can give any number between minus infinity and plus infinity. Let's say if I give minus 23.5, the tan inverse value of that particular value will be written as angle in radians. So this is the value in radians for this value. Now in the similar manner, if I execute a query for positive value also, you can see the result. If I just change that to positive, that is also fine. If I execute, you will see the result as positive value 1.5282. And so for tan, we can mention any number which is lying between minus infinity and plus infinity. Whereas for cos and sine, the number should lie between minus 1 and plus 1. So that is how we can utilize a sine, a cos, and a tan functions to find the inverse trigonometric function values for any particular given number.